January 3rd, 2023, select board meeting. This meeting is being recorded.
All right, good evening and welcome to the select board meeting from the town of Southwick for Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023. Happy New Year's. Is everything working on Zoom to the best of our knowledge? Is there anybody on Zoom to make sure this is a test? Can you hear us?
Looks good from my house.
Okay. All right, then we will begin. The first thing we're going to do is I'll announce who's here. Myself, Russell Fox, is chair. Jason Perone is here. Vice Chair, Mr. Moglen, is on Zoom. We also have our administrative assistant, Robin Solak, with us here tonight. With that, I'd like to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance, and we have a gentleman here that's going to lead us, Benjamin, who's working on towards becoming an Eagle Scout.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Benjamin. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is public comments. This gives anybody that's not on the agenda an opportunity to make a statement to the select board. I'm asked that anybody that make a statement that's here in the room to please stand and state your name and address. So we're going to start with the room first. Is there anyone in this room that would like to make a public comment? I see no hands going up, so I'm going to go to Zoom. Is there anyone on Zoom that would like to make a public comment? Mr. Moglen, do you see anybody?
Nope.
Okay, then we're going into our meeting. Very quickly, I'm going to do a couple of things. I'd like to acknowledge payroll warrant number 2315 dated 12/20/22 in the amount of $255,448.74. I'd like to acknowledge payables warrant number 2317B dated 12/27/22 in the amount of $268,461.60. I'd accept the motion to accept the open meeting. Let me try that again. Accept the minutes dated 12/19/22.
Make a motion to carry those to our next meeting, please.
Okay.
And I will second that.
Okay, roll call vote. Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Moglen, aye.
Jason Perone, aye.
So it's tabled.
Ditto.
Motion to accept the executive session minutes. Mr. Moglen, you're not here, so why don't we table those until next meeting? Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. I don't think we need a motion on that. We're just going to do it. All right. At 6:05, we're going to be meeting with Christopher and the chief of police, and we got the lieutenant here, so by the time. Oh, I apologize. I skipped over something that, and I really shouldn't have skipped over. If I'd like to mention that we had the passing of Mary Fedora and Elizabeth Steinhardt. Mary was the wife of George Fedora, former commander of our local VFW here in Southwick. He was always involved in the VFW, always at every single parade and VFW event. And of course, Elizabeth Steinhardt Beth was the wife of our CAO, Carl Steinhardt. Just a wonderful person. She did have interact with the town of Southwick in her capacity working for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and DEP. So I'd like to ask people to keep both these families in our thoughts and our prayers. And if we could have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. All right. Chief and your guests. Lieutenant, are you joining us?
Yeah, if you like.
Why don't you come on up? We have Chief Landis, Lieutenant Banish, and we're going to be interviewing Christopher Dufresne. Dufresne.
Yes, sir.
All right, Chief, I'm gonna let you do the introductions.
So Chris has been just recently retired from the Enfield Police Department after 20 years. We interviewed him, the command staffs interviewed him. I had the opportunity to talk to him on a couple occasions. He brings with him, from you can see in his resume, quite a bit of experience. I'll let him get into more details, but he's just on the other side of the lake. So he's obviously very, very close to where he'd be working if opportunity. Again, right now, we're looking at part-time for him. If in fact he was offered a conditional offer of employment, it would be required that he gets an exemption from the state. He wouldn't have to go to the police academy. Being that he's in current and everything, I wouldn't see that as being very a logistical task. Some paperwork involved. He would be required to do a physical abilities test, a psychological evaluation, and a physical would be the requirements. And I think the lieutenant would agree, and the rest of the command staff we believe that he would be a great addition to our part-time staff, as you know, some of the hurdles that we're facing with part-time people. And I think with a little bit of bringing him up to speed, it would, it would be something that we could do over a period of several months versus long-term.
Okay. Christopher, you have the floor.
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me here tonight, the Chief Lieutenant, and it's a pleasure meeting you guys. And thank you for what you're doing. That's awesome. Good job with the Pledge of Allegiance. In a nutshell, I've got a 25-year law enforcement career. I started in '97 in Shelburne, Mass. Worked my way through the military and ended up in Enfield, Connecticut. I retired after 20 years, just the way our pension operates. I'm young enough where I can go do something somewhere else, use my the experience that I've gotten elsewhere, somewhere else. Over the last 4 years, I now live in this area and just basically fell in love with Southwick. We do everything in Southwick. I don't go anywhere else. I mean, everything we do is here. So I do live in Suffield, but everything I do is here. And spoken with many officers from the department over the course of my time here, and just nothing but professionalism. Between, I mean, I'm not going to mention names, but after meeting the chief, I said, you know what, this is a nice operation that they have here. And I think that it'll work for me, and it also work for them and you guys. So
I want to know about Montgomery, Alabama.
that's because of the military.
That's what I figured. You were stationed in Georgia and
Yeah,
then,
so I was stationed at Fort Benning in Georgia, and they wouldn't let us leave to test back up where I'm from.
Yeah.
Because we were on lockdown, and so I just went 2 hours and tested and stayed there for a little while, and I said, I'm going back. I'm going back. Nothing against it, but it was an experience.
Yeah.
For sure.
must have been a little warm down there.
South is a different world. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, that's good. Mr. Moglen, any questions or comments?
No, I've heard nothing but good things from his interactions with the town. And the recommendation of the chief and the lieutenant.
Jason, questions or comments?
His resume speaks for itself, and everything that I've heard from the chief, Lieutenant Banish, and the few other officers that I spoke to. That he's got even way more than I've got on my resume, so.
Okay.
So, anybody that, especially with the change in law enforcement, with the accountability and everything, the fact that you want to still do it is commendable.
Yeah.
It's not a fun field anymore. It can be very taxing mentally, as you know, so I'm all for it.
Okay. And don't worry about that Suffield thing. We're thinking about annexing part of that because you're so close anyways, We've had discussions.
I'm
and
closer to Southwick than I am Suffield Center. If that makes
absolutely. I'm familiar with the area. We could just move the sign if you'd like, we could do it sometime. But anyways, No, I agree with what Jason said and Doug. I would accept a motion to offer an employment to this candidate.
So moved.
I will second that motion.
Okay, a roll call vote. Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Perone, aye.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
See you around, I'm sure.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Lieutenant.
I got some other things, but I just wanna,
Okay. You got anything fast or?
no, we got some stuff.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. We got a few minutes before we're gonna continue a liquor hearing. Fire Chief, did you want to do a presentation?
I would, very much so. So. As you know, when our firefighters come on, they come on as a probationary firefighter. And it's really an unofficial period of time in their time frame. And basically, it's based on how well they accelerate through some of the training and get to the status of qualified interior firefighter. We recognize them by offering them a yellow helmet, which on the fire ground distinguishes them as an interior capable firefighter. So it's a big step for them. And that's done through training through either the Connecticut or the Massachusetts Fire Academy. Nick Chambers, a member of the department, call guy, is just recently completed and successfully passed certification for firefighter 1. At the same time, doing all his EMT upgrade. And so he's now working for us as an EMT, as well as a firefighter, interior firefighter. I'd like to invite Nick up here if we could. So Nick, on behalf of the Southwick Fire Department, will present you with a official yellow helmet for interior firefighting. And this comes with obviously a lot of responsibility to lead us and also the young people and be a role model all the time that you can. But I appreciate all the effort you've put into this. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
And Nick, congratulations. You don't have to stick around. But if you're more than well, you're all welcome to stay if you want, but it's probably going to be a little boring.
Fair enough. Good to see you, gentlemen.
All right, thank you.
You
Keep
too.
up the good work. All right. We still got a couple of minutes, so let's see what we can do. If we go to new business, need a motion to authorize the chair to sign the construction amendment services to phase 2 of the Bungalow Street project with Fuss and O'Neill for $48,500.
So moved.
Seconded,
Roll call vote. Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Perone, aye.
Okay. The cemetery commissioner is asked to raise the fee for winter burials to $100 to cover their additional expense for winter burials. Need a motion?
So moved.
Seconded,
Okay, roll call vote. Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Perone, aye.
Okay. We have a bill from Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, invoice number 16 for a fiscal 20 Southwick Community Assistant Program in the amount of $3,394.05. This is for engineering on North Lake Avenue and design project, housing rehabilitation program, our community food program, and administration. Need a motion?
Doug Mogul will make that motion.
Seconded,
Okay, roll call vote. Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Perone, aye.
Okay, I'd like to acknowledge that we had someone that was, I believe, thinking of resigning, but has since pulled back her resignation. Is that true? Is that accurate?
Yes. She sells her house.
Okay, so it was Heidi Johnstone that was going to resign, but she has since changed her mind. But we did get a letter from Harold Ordeon, who had heard that she was resigning and put in submitted a letter of interest. So what we'll do is contact Harold Fortione and tell him that she has changed her mind. She's been elected and she is continuing to serve, but we thank him for his letter. All right, with that, we are going to reopen a liquor hearing that was continued to a date certain in time, and that is at 6:15 on the Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023. Need a motion to reopen and continue the hearing.
So moved.
Seconded,
Roll call vote, Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Peron, I.
Okay, I'm not gonna reread the whole licensing thing again. They're the applicants. Oh, they're online and their attorney is online? Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. Did you have any other statements that you would like to make at this time?
We understand that there's something happening with a requirement for an inspection by the building department or the fire department that caused us to be continued to this date. And I understand that it's underway, the repairs are underway and should be done as soon as tomorrow. And so I would just ask that the license be at least conditionally approved until such time as the inspection has been commenced and approved.
Okay. I think that was one of the items of concern that came up. There's also something else that I think it's outside of the scope, and I don't think it's going to hold up us approving or disapproving this license. But I think it should be out there in the open. And I want to make sure the people that are going to be taking over this license in this facility understand that there seems to be an issue concerning the docks at this facility. And it's my understanding the intent of the docks were for customers to use. They were not to be rental docks. So I just want to get that out in the open to make sure that everyone is aware of that issue. And I hope down the road that somebody doesn't come back to me and say they did not understand that.
No, I
Is that-
think, as a matter of fact, the lease doesn't provide for rental of the docks. It's simply the premises and the outdoor area, the outdoor dining area. There'll be no renting of the docks.
Okay, but are you saying that you understand the docks are there for customers to park to come to that restaurant?
Correct.
Okay, just thank you for that clarification. Mr. Moglen, any questions, concerns?
No, I think you pretty much covered it. The inspectional services piece was ongoing. Last I checked as of Friday. And I'm glad that you brought up the marina issue because, you know, that's a key part of that business too, is having those transient docks available for patrons to use.
Jason?
A little bit of looking into it. I looked into, I agree with what you said. They're aware of the dock issue. You know, from what I understand, that's not going to be part of this, as the attorney said. So I'm good with everything that I've looked into.
Okay. All right, then I will accept a motion and I think the attorney has agreed that the license would be contingent on all the inspections being completed and satisfactory. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so I'll accept a motion at this time to approve.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
All right,
Unless
thank
there's
you.
anyone else
Thank
that
you,
has
Mr.
anything to
Moglen.
say.
I was just looking down. Thank you. So that we're going to do a motion to close the hearing first. Motion made.
Motion seconded.
Roll call vote. Russ Fox, aye.
Now I'll make a motion to conditionally
No,
grant.
Doug, we're doing a motion to close the hearing first. Roll call vote. Russ
Oh,
Fox,
sorry.
aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Peron, I.
Now I will accept the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the liquor license transfer as applied.
I'll second the motion. The
Okay,
same.
okay, roll call vote. Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Peron, I.
Congratulations, and if we can assist you in any way, let us know. You can also reach out to our Economic Development Commission if you want to have some sort of ribbon cutting. We work with the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, and we'd be happy to help promote your business.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, well, going on. You want that back before I mess it up, right? Okay. Where was I, Jason? Okay.
Library.
Okay. We have the Southwick Public Library is looking for us to accept $175. $93 in cash for fines and fees, $9 in cash donations, $52 from Friends of the Library holiday book sale, and $21 check for a lost book replacement. Need a motion?
People must be losing a lot of books, 93 bucks, because they stopped collecting the fines, right? I'll make the
Correct.
motion.
All right,
And I will second the motion.
roll call vote, Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Perron, aye.
You know what, Mr. Fox, that might be us, under it. That could be one book at 93 bucks these days. Who knows?
It's true.
Inflation and all.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna go there, Mr. Moglen, because I can see where you're headed or.
I was
or
thinking.
No,
Mr.
wasn't gonna
Barone
go
is
there.
headed, so I'm not gonna even say it, all
What did a
right?
book cost in 1970?
I'm not going there today, gentlemen. All right, the next thing is also from the Southwick Public Library. This is to accept a gift of $2,676.03 from Friends of the Library. So, and this will be used for, they're refunding the library for the purchase of a new shelving for the children's room using the library's vendor account. So they're
it's a gift.
replenishing.
Yeah,
Right.
so moved.
Seconded,
Roll call vote, Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Perron, aye.
Okay. Oh, okay. Doug, we're gonna sign that thing from Randy Brown for Fuss and O'Neill.
Sure.
And yeah, okay. I guess it's just my signature, Doug, so. All right, Jason, it's just mine,
Good.
so. So now I'm the only one on the hook for the 48. There you go, Rob.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, now this is really, I'm gonna take this under old business. It's not on the agenda. This is something that came in this afternoon. It's from Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, from Gabe, our senior planner that we're working with on our community block grants. And Gabe is just making sure, because we're in the process of applying for fiscal 22 CDBG grants, which is our community block grant funding, where we do, we're finishing up Bungalow, we did Veteran Street. And he wants to make sure that this board is still in agreement that the phase 2 construction of Bungalow Street and other activities concerning our community food pantry. Those are some of the things that we have begun, and he wants to make sure that we want to continue. Doug, any thoughts, suggestions, comments?
Not at this time, sir.
Okay, so I'm gonna accept a motion to send a email to Gabe that we are in agreement with his letter, that we want to go forward with the construction of Bungalow and also seeking funds for our community food pantry. Doug, you want to make that motion?
So moved.
Seconded,
Roll call vote, Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Perron, aye.
We'll contact Gabe and let him know that. All right. We're on to new business. And it looks like that the chairman of the Ag Committee is looking to create a website, much like the Economic Development Commission has. And under our protocols, we have to give the blessing for them to go ahead with this. So I would accept the motion that we give them the go ahead as long as they're in full compliance with all our social media policies. Is that okay, Doug?
Sure, and I'll schedule a meeting with Sage and the chair to understand what they're looking to do here, to make sure that it's all square, that we're doing
Okay.
what they need to be done and complies with our policy.
I appreciate that, Doug. Okay, so
So moved.
Doug,
I'll second the motion.
okay, roll call vote, Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Perone, aye.
All right, I'm putting you down as you're the liaison on that one, Doug. Okay. Chief, did you say you had to meet with us?
It was something we can take care of, nothing, it's regarding an event, Robin and I spoke this afternoon, just gonna finalize.
It's the dispatchers.
Oh, okay, did we want to do that publicly, or do you want to do, coordinate privately and?
Yeah, privately, it's
Okay.
some small details, but I can, it's no rush.
Okay, we'll do that privately and kind of a little surprise. Okay. Fire chief,
Right.
I saw you had something here.
I do. So I just want to discuss. Probably a gap measure. When the fire department moved to its 24-hour shift, there were a couple of things that weren't thought of or didn't occur to us at the time of moving over. And one of those is a stipend that's paid to an experienced EMT working in the capacity as a field training officer. Field training officers typically work side by side with a new EMT or a new paramedic. We could be working with a per diem EMT, per diem paramedic, or a full-time person. And so we have most of the department right now, that's a certified EMT working on the career staff, as well as 3 of our EMTs working as per diem, all can fill the role for basic field training officer. And then as far as the ALS is concerned, it's only 3 people at this time right now. But that's growing as we get a little bit more experience. One of the problems was we used to, based on the old schedule, when it was call, pay a stipend for a 12-hour shift. The problem is right now, the shift is 24 hours. So the job is doubled in duration, but the pay hasn't. And so I'm seeking approval to allow that shift to be defined as 12 hours each time. So if somebody's in the station as a new EMT and is looking to upgrade, they're there for a 24-hour rotation, which they can do, as well as working side by side with the FTO. We wanted to give the FTO 12 hours for the day shift, and then again, 12 hours for the night shift is pretty much how we distinguish the two. Statistically speaking, it's one of those things that's very hard to track because we have new employees come in groups. So we have a heavy month and then we have a slow month, and then it could be more paramedic than basic. The paramedic stipend for ALS is $45 per shift and $30 for BLS shift. So if based on what we looked at for the past year, we had approximately 60 ALS shifts that needed to be upgraded and 90 BLS shifts, and expect that would probably be the same. There is an increase in BLS shifts only because we're looking to get more people involved, but also the BLS providers are typically the ones that are only doing a 12-hour shift.
Yeah.
And so they'll be both shifts now as well too. So I anticipate an increase of about 2,000 to 3,500, but there's money in the per diem budget to cover that.
Okay. Mr. Mogul, questions? You're the
I have
fire
a few.
liaison.
Okay.
Yeah, and I probably need to think about this, and I think we also need to think about it in the context of collective bargaining too. Because this may be a position that may be subject to collective bargaining from other unions as well, in a similar role for us, maybe not an EMT, but in, say, in the police department. And I don't know if this is, we probably got to send this to Kim and have her take a look-see and see what she thinks. I understand the issue, and it does seem to be, you know, with the change in shifts, it does seem easily solved, but I think we should check to be sure.
Okay. Fair enough.
Jason?
Are you looking to go retroactive with it?
No,
Okay.
no, this would have an effective date on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perhaps it would be an MOU with, I don't know, but I think we need to just figure it out to make sure we're doing it right.
Yep.
All right.
Certainly. So it's in play right now. It would just actually be giving the people that are career staff an opportunity to make a little bit more, but I understand how you concerned it could be a little bit more far reaching than just fire, so that's worth the look.
All right, so we're
Okay.
gonna refer this to Labor Council.
Yep.
And you can work with Labor Council directly.
Okay.
And Mr. Moglen is the fire liaison, so
Yep.
you can coordinate with him also.
Fantastic. Very good.
Is that everything, Rich?
That's all I had.
How's everything else going?
So far, so good. Yeah,
Knock on wood.
new year, very busiest year so far. Yeah, 1,287 medical calls. That's up from almost 180 from last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost a 10% increase. We're getting there. And we were able to cover more calls with additional staffing, which helped us. That was the big difference maker, being able to get the back-to-back calls as well as call-ins to support the second ambulance when the first one's out.
Right.
So
Now, are we backing up, like going Granville and
So
things?
we are. Granville has asked that we provided ALS intercepts with them. We've had an agreement for some time.
Yeah.
And we share that same agreement with Westfield, Agawam, Suffield. If they needed paramedics, they can call us first due. They wanted to give us some time to get our feet up and running, our service up and running, our feet wet, if you would.
Yeah.
But we're there now. But they've also expanded and now they're covering more of their shifts during the day as well as nighttime. They've done a very good job of recruiting staff and filling a lot of their shifts. And they're actually covering Holland right now.
Oh, they're covering
Yeah.
town.
Yeah, so
All right.
far reaching, but that's the future of the EMS.
Well, I knew that was gonna be coming
Yeah.
along and I think it's great that we have this mutual agreement with our sister communities. That's good.
Okay.
Thank you, Rich.
Very good, thank you.
Refer it, Labor Council. All right, the only thing I had under new business is I did a Zoom call this morning with the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce. And they've basically want to do more in the town of Southwick. I know that Kate Phelan, when she was the executive director, she was out here all the time. And Eric wants to get out here and some of the other members are interested in getting Southwick more involved. So I think it was a good first step. I'm going to try to reach out to the Economic Development Commission and see if we can't coordinate some meetings and get things going, because we have several new businesses in town that we really properly haven't had ribbon cutting ceremonies or properly welcomed them to the community and try to give them a little plug, so I'll reach out to Mike McMahon, chairman of the Economic Development Commission, and see if we can't coordinate something. Mr. Moglen, any new business?
I just have one, and it's more of a question, but I was approached by a couple of folks inquiring on what is the process to lower a speed limit in a residential zone and have it posted.
Well, I happen to have the chief of police here. I have the lieutenant, who's also our safety officer, I believe. Oh, excuse me. Well, he has experience as safety officer. And we also have our new candidate here, who was an officer in Enfield for many years in other jurisdictions. So I will ask Chief Landis if he'd like to answer that at this time or do research and get back to us.
Well, no, I mean, there's a process, but there is some data collection involved and studies to be involved and, Lieutenant, I don't know if you did it before, but, generally, we don't change it ourselves. It comes, it goes through, I think, there's a traffic. Yeah, exactly. There's a full process for that. And if you recall, a ways back, kind of on the road went through that.
Correct. And I think we had a couple of residents, I think former safety officer Sergeant Sanders over the years had gone through the process for some of the neighborhoods that kind of had no other.
For the initial part of it, certainly, wherever this location is, if they would like to get a hold of either myself, Lieutenant, or We can certainly review the data that we have thus far, because we know that the accidents on the road, if that's the problem, or, you know, the speed in and of itself, just making it for unsafe conditions for them at peak hours. But we can at least start and look at that.
Mr. Chair, I just asked to carry that then under old business and note that we should probably update some of the bullet points under old business that can get closed out.
Okay, we can
So-
try doing that, some of that tonight.
Okay, so just real quick, the planning board comprehensive impact statement is done.
Okay,
And the assistant CAO is done. And that's it, I think.
all right, thank you.
And the only other thing, I just wanted to thank Ben Lehman for coming in tonight and leading the pledge and sitting through this torturous meeting without falling asleep yet. And Ben, I'll follow up with you to carry out the rest of the requirements of your merit badge in the next couple of days.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Our pleasure. That's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
All right, very good. Jason, new business?
I have none at this time.
Okay, then we're gonna go to old business. North Pond violations, a meeting with the departments. I think it's time that we set up, Chief Landis set up a meeting. Because it's January now and spring will be here shortly. And I know that we were talking about doing some work over there and setting up some policies, and I'm not sure where we're at that point, so.
Touch base and formulate our game plan.
Okay.
It's always here for-
Right, so do you want to organize that with your staff and Mr. McWilliams and myself? And we'll get together, and if we need to, we can always ask the state that, I forget, what is it, Jennifer? Because she is very knowledgeable, you know, but we want to be prepared. And hopefully, as Mr. McWilliams said, maybe this was, you know, a blip and it won't happen again, but let's be prepared. The sewer system, IMA, that was one of the things I discussed this morning with the Westfield Chamber of Commerce. And they certainly appreciate what I was saying and said that they would certainly try to support anything that Southwick is doing to try to get the best agreement possible with our sister city of Westfield. Mr. Moglen, you have worked on the survey that we're asking people about the marijuana issue.
Yes, sir. I don't believe the census has gone out, which has the link to the survey itself, but the survey is linked off the select board page on the Town of Southwick website.
Okay. All right, I'll check with Town Clerk Michelle Hill and see when exactly the census is going out. And the local press did ask me when it would end, and I said I would imagine we'd end the survey when the census are due back.
Would make sense.
Which makes sense, correct?
Most certainly.
Okay, so I'll work with the town clerk on that one. The marijuana host agreement with Hudson Drive facility, I believe that's with the Legal Beagles. It's out of our hands, as far as I know. The 74 College Highway update. The CAO and I have met informally with the people interested in taking that over. And they still have not made any firm commitment, but I believe they're in negotiation with the current owners of the property. And we do have an opening on the Southwick Housing Authority. Has that been posted? Do we know?
It has been posted on the web, yes.
Okay, so I would say that we have to get to a point where we're going to have to close that and make a decision. So maybe we could try to promote that with the local press and give it what, another 2 weeks? Doug, is that fair, Jason? 2 weeks?
Sure.
Okay, we're gonna keep it open for another 2 weeks. We're looking for interested candidates to fill the vacancy of Mrs. Reed, who passed away. And that would be just to fill it to the May election. So I think, it'd be nice if we could get somebody, especially if they're interested in running in the May election. This would give them a chance to get a little taste of it to see if they really want to do it. Okay, Doug, and we also added the speed limits issue to old business as you requested. Any other old business, Mr. Mogul?
Just one thing, I would like to add back on to the old business now that we have a new health director coming in, is to coordinate with him regarding the E. coli testing protocol for next spring and summer out on Congamon. I kind of got a little sidetracked with the existing health director leaving. I know there's been some activity with lake management and some other folks, so I'd like to tie together all the work and coordinate with those guys. They've stepped up and started talking about some stuff. So I'd like to just work with them to make sure that we're all working to the same goal.
Okay. That seems fair enough. Jason, any old business?
Couple things. I guess I'm gonna direct this at Mr. Moglen, maybe yourself, Mr. Chairman. Several people have asked in regards to the survey. They're interested as to whether or not, once we get the results, are we going to be looking at a binding, non-binding thing, or are we looking to add it to the town meeting?
Well, when the press asked me today, I said, if the voters or the response we get changed as dramatically from what was previously a no, I would say that we would go right to a town meeting.
Okay.
Because as Doug said, it wouldn't be that complicated to do it.
Correct.
And then, hey, we have the purest form of government there is, open town meeting form of government.
Yes.
That way, everybody could come in there and speak their mind on it and vote it yes or no. But
Very good.
I think what we were trying to do is just to get a feeling.
Okay.
Because people originally voted no, but things are changing. Now Connecticut has it, so I don't know. Is that your same feeling, Doug, or?
Yeah, and I agree 100% on all of that. The only way for us to change it would be to go to town meeting and change the laws that were taken. This survey is asking a question that we've never asked. So people voted in favor of medicinal marijuana in the town of Southwick at the ballot box. People voted in favor of recreational marijuana at the ballot box, but we never asked. And so the question has never been answered is, should recreational cannabis retailers be permitted in the town of Southwick? So that would be the subject of just a modification to two bylaws in town. One would be the zoning regulation and then the select board regulation, which both came in at the same town meeting, one article after the other. So I'm gonna be very interested to see the results of the survey to see if it's very decisive or it's very close and in either direction. And then we'll have a discussion about it and then we can see what's the right direction to take.
All right,
That's true.
sounds
Thank you,
good.
Mr. Moglen, on the clarification. Okay, the other things I have, several, I can't remember, maybe a month or so ago, one of our constituents came in and asked about West Springfield and Eversource and rates. Let's just say I've been getting the runaround on that. I reached out to West Springfield, the mayor's office. They transferred me to their central maintenance people who have not responded to me. I reached out to Eversource. I literally got told from customer service that, well, let me get you somebody else from customer service 3 times. And then they dropped my, dropped my call. So I'm still looking into that. The mayor's secretary in West Springfield said there is some program that allows the towns to reach out to Eversource and talk to them in regards to rates. But I can't get any confirmation on that. So that's where I am with that. Marijuana question is answered. And then I brought up the assessor's issue. I've been speaking back, corresponding back and forth with Sue Gore in emails. I guess the question that I had is up to, they're doing an audit on, I guess, properties to see if everybody's being properly assessed on individual properties, which the amount of things that are in our assessment that actually add are quite interesting. I think I mentioned it last time regarding sprinklers and air conditioners, so I'm hoping to get, maybe we can talk to Sue and get an update on that audit and what they're finding so far and how far along they are.
Yeah.
So, and that is it.
And I forgot, I was gonna schedule you
With
with
the
Roy
with the
Bishop.
Consultant, yes.
Yeah,
I was gonna bring that up and ask you.
I forgot all about
Hey,
it.
Jason?
Yes,
After the last meeting, I just quickly looked up on Eversource. I remember doing it a couple of weeks ago. Their rates are on their website. And I'll have to go and look at my own electric bill to make sure they're identical, but they just have a published residential and small business and medium and large business rate. So it's not by town. Now, perhaps West Springfield did something completely different, but I don't know that.
you are correct. It's set a certain way, but like you said, I'm just investigating what was brought to my attention. When I heard it, I looked at the same thing, residential, commercial, town, states, they're set. Like I said, I'm looking into this because there may be some legs to it. But I don't know what they've done yet, Mr. Mogul. That's what I'm trying to find out. And like I said, it's been Eversource is not fun to deal with.
Well, when we go to the convention, Mass Municipal Convention on the 20th and 21st,
You'll be there.
Eversource won't be there
Okay.
probably, but the good mayor will be there usually.
Oh, perfect.
And, or some of the city councilors, so we can grab them and have a little chat. Because usually a lot of the Western Mass delegation, we kind of tend to,
Hang together.
or we at least know each other by name, so we have conversations. So that might be a good opportunity
Yeah.
to get an answer like
that's
that.
only
And remind
2 weeks
me
away.
to set up the meeting with you with Roy Bishop. I wrote it down, but if I don't, just say, send me a text, hey, don't forget Roy Bishop. Okay,
very
and I'll
good.
set that up so that he can sit down with you and go over, because he's very good. Used to work for the Department of Revenue, does 31 communities in Western Massachusetts. So if you've got a question, he certainly
I got
can
plenty.
give you an answer,
So Mr. Perone, I did find it. It's not through Eversource. So West Springfield has entered an agreement with a company, Nextera Energy, and they call it the West Springfield Community Choice Power Supply. I'll send you a link to the article that was in the reminder in
That'd be good
August of
because
2019.
I was dealing with the Eversource angle and had no idea. Like I said, I've been reaching out individually and through, phone calls and whatnot. So
Gotcha. I'll send you an email with the link to the article.
Perfect. That would be
Yeah.
great.
You got it.
It could be similar to like, and I'm not saying it could be, but years back, some of the solar arrays
Mhm.
would come to us and say, will you endorse this? And tell Southwick people that they can take advantage of this solar array. And we took the position that we didn't want to endorse one company over another company. So it could be something like that,
Very
that they have an arrangement with one of these wholesalers that, like you and I could do. We could go out and get our energy from a wholesaler, still get billed by Eversource, but we locked in at a different rate. So it could be that, but
Mr. Mullen, thank you. I tried numerous search. Great, you did great. I couldn't find it. So thank you very much. I look forward to reading that.
No
all
worries.
right. All right. Any other old business?
That is it from me.
Doug, you said you were done, correct?
I'm done.
All right, then we are going to go into executive session, not to reconvene. And we're going to be going into executive session, exception number 3. Move to go into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining. And that the chair move to go into executive session to conduct strategy session in preparations for negotiation with non-union personnel. And not to reconvene in open session. Regarding chapter 214, section 1B, the person shall have a right against unreasonable, substantial, or serious interference with their privacy. the Superior Court shall have jurisdiction and equity to enforce such right and in connection therewith to award damages. The roll call vote, Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Jason Perone, aye.
All right, I thank everybody. We're going into executive session.